What's up guys, it's Smith here from GamersHeroes.com and we've got another quick LEGO Fortnite guide for you today on our tips and tricks to help you progress and get started on a better footing. So real quick, we're going to go over the very basics of the survival genre. This is the world, it's different for everyone. The seed is created when you create your world, so your world will be unique to mine. What you need to understand is there are different biomes, grasslands, ice, desert, etc. and caves, and they get increasingly difficult as you go through. So that's the very core basics dumbed down to as simple as possible. So let's get into the tips here. So first up, where should you build your base? Now you want to build your base between the biomes if possible. So this right here is the frosty snowy biome. This one down here, you can see the dark brown in the bottom right corner there. That is the desert biome. And then we have the caves. Now our issue is we're so far from the desert biome. It's like a 5 to 6 minute walk, traipsing back and forward with all the materials we need. It's really long. So when you start the game, as difficult it is, resist the urge to put roots down. Just use beds so you can respawn and find all of the major biomes first. The ice one, the desert one, and the grasslands one. And then build a base close to all three. So right in the middle would save you a lot of time in the long run. So once you've got your base built, what's our next tip? Prioritize your village upgrades and your bench upgrades. So this is your village totem here. Upgrading this allows you to recruit new villagers. We'll go into what they can do a bit later. It unlocks new recipes for you to build. It unlocks all sorts of different things. This is a really valuable way of progressing in the game. And then you want to go to your crafting bench and upgrade this. So basically, every time you come here, look at the crafting bench. If you recognize all of these materials, go and get them immediately and upgrade your crafting bench. If you don't, you need to progress a bit further with exploration. So upgrading this unlocks more of the tools. So you can see here we've got the common pickaxe, the uncommon, the rare. In order to harvest materials, you need the tool of the right rarity. You can't harvest rare materials with an uncommon forest axe, for example. So next up, crops are very important. Hang on, I'm starving here. Just couldn't prepare for this video, could be Smith. Let me just eat some eggs. So all of the late game stuff, when you're talking about surviving the cold and surviving the heat, all comes from crops. Crops are very easy to make. All you've got to do is find some fertilizer, which is basically animal poo. Wherever you find animals, you will find poo on the floor. Once you've got that, make a spade, dig up the floor, sorry, a shovel, dig up the floor and you'll get some soil. You can then make the item garden plot. You can then plant seeds in the pot to grow them. Now, if you pick them yourself, eventually they will disappear. If you assign a villager to it, they will just keep picking them over time and you can come back and they will deliver you whatever you're growing. It's not as quick to do it that way, so you might want to just grab a few first yourself and then let them do it over time, but it's the easiest way of doing it. Doing that, you'll make sure you have all the crops you need because later on you're going to need all of them to make drinks and food so you can survive different areas. So going over to the biomes, as I said, the grassland is the starting area, then it's the caves, then you go to the desert one, then you go to the ice one. The desert one, you need to make sure you've got heat protection, especially if you go in the caves there because you will take damage over time. The enemies there are also much stronger than the grasslands, so you need to make sure that your weapon is upgraded first. The Iceland is the sort of top tier area, it's the hardest one, so you need all the top level tools for all of that. Same with the caves in there, they're really deadly. So whenever you're looking to progress, you're basically looking to go to the area you can explore the most. So right now, I've got tools in the rare section, so my tools are blue, you can see here. So this allows me to pretty much gather anything from the desert biome. I've not quite got to the icy one on this land just yet. Right, so bed building. This is really important. When you're out exploring, you want to make sure you build beds. So as I said, right now, we have a very long walk down to the desert biome. If I die down there, I'm going to respawn at my bed here with none of my items, and I'm going to have to run all the way back down to get them again and make some drinks on the way to make sure that I can survive the temperature. If you build a bed down there, right near the outskirts of it, you can get back to your loot a lot quicker. So build beds when you're exploring in safe places. It will save you a lot of traveling. Next up, how do we unlock more recipes? Now, recipes are the key to progress and the funnest thing about the game. It's always cool when you get to build new stuff. So the three main ways of unlocking new recipes are primarily your village upgrades. You can come here every time you upgrade your village. It doesn't tell you what rewards you're getting until you've got them, but it does. Every single level will reward you with new recipes you can build. Secondly, when you get that to a high enough level, I think it's level 7. Let me just double check. No one will talk to you. Yeah, when it's level 7, they can gift you unique recipes. So far, these have all been pretty garbage in terms of mechanical benefit. They're just there for their decoration. So it's like rugs and bookshelves and that kind of thing. Thirdly, and probably the most important one, if you're struggling to progress further, make sure that whenever you've built one of these, so these are the utility things, so everything from the crafting bench to the stone breaker to the gem cutter, go in and make sure you've made at least one of each item. This gives you the resource. So whenever you find a resource for the first time, you will often unlock recipes associated with that resource. So make sure to do that. So that sort of ties in our next trip on how to progress. Make sure that you are crafting stuff at all the time. So whenever you make a utility station, as I've said, craft at least one thing. You then want to make sure you have the top tier weapons. So if you go into this crafting bench here, you want to make sure that you're always working towards the next one. So how they work is quite strange. So you can get the common stuff to start with, right? And then you have the uncommon thing. So the uncommon axe requires bone and wooden rods. That's just stuff you can find in the grasslands. But the green axe requires knotroot rod and cut amber, which is somewhere entirely different. So knotroot is under the caves and cut amber is in the desert region. So the pickaxe, the green pickaxe, let's go back to the green axe, bone and wooden rod, both from the grasslands, but the pickaxe, you need the knotroot rod, which is from the caves. So the pickaxe require you to go a little bit further. So flexwood rod, you can get from the desert area, and the sandclaw you can get from the desert area, but for the blue forest axe, you can't get the cut amber without the pickaxe. So it's a bit confusing, but basically, you're going to go into a new area most of the time with an axe, but you're not going to be able to make the pickaxe until you explore it first. So progress is tied to just getting more tools, getting higher level tools, and then getting higher level materials. So next up, we have villagers. Villagers are really important because they do a lot of heavy lifting for you. So we've got a bunch of villagers here. I've got Bright Bomber here. What's her job right now? So she's out gathering stuff for me. Now, some of this is hard to get. Some of it's easy to get. Like, we don't really need help getting wood. But sometimes she'll bring back silk. She'll bring back wool. As you progress with your village upgrades, they will go further and further away and explore other biomes. So getting villagers is key. They'll join you every night. As long as you've got bed and your village is the right level, you can speak to them. And once they say they're going to spend the night with you, you can then recruit them and they will do jobs for you. So these are a really good way of doing it. Lastly, we're going to go into the vehicles. Now, this is a bit of a dumb note to end on. All I can say is, honestly, right now, don't waste your time. Vehicles are completely useless. There are some tips and tricks to really gank the system, but every time the server restarts, your vehicles will disappear. And using the twisted mechanics to sort of make it work, you can destroy the entire thing anyway. So right now, vehicles are a bit useless other than what you see. Yes, I can throw wheels and a booster on this and it will go in a straight line until I hit something, but that's about as best it's got. If you want to play around with the vehicle construction, do it in sandbox mode. Some of these resources are quite hard to get when you first get them. You don't want to blow it on experimenting. Go into sandbox mode with your mates and then use all of the free materials in there to try the vehicles out for yourself. But so far, they're pretty useless. So guys, those are our tips and tricks for Fortnite. I hope you're enjoying the game. Nice and quick, get what you need and get back to the game. If we helped you out today, do like to subscribe. We do appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care now.